You know, OJ was a great guy, and I lived with him for a year after the criminal case because I did the civil case as well. And I spent a lot of time with him. I lived down there at Rockingham, and so he was a great guy. He is a great guy. He obviously had a lot of domestic problems with Nicole, and I was talking to a bunch of reporters the other day, and it was clear that she gave as good as she got. I mean, it was a very volatile relationship between both of them. It wasn't like she was a victim and he was a perpetrator. I mean, it just wasn't like that. But they had a very volatile relationship, and that's what kind of triggered everything that happened. And OJ always maintained his complete innocence the entire time. A lot of people ask me questions about did I believe him or not. I said I tell everybody I wasn't there at the time of the homicides, so I have no idea. It's not my place to make a judgment about that. So in order for me to defend him, I can't make those kind of judgments, and I don't. Once they make me a judge, then maybe I could do that, but that's not my role. Absolutely. That was clear from the very beginning that this was going to be the major trial of the century, if you will. And so, no, that was obvious. And the fact that, you know, it was all televised, and there was a lot of emotion throughout the entire trial, a lot of emotion. And so it was, for me, it was just a tremendous experience. I mean, you know, I did all the forensic work and the DNA evidence and all that, and it was a very complex case from a forensic standpoint. But there were all sorts of other aspects that were very important to the case. And, you know, I've told people that because of the racial undertones, you know, people accused us of playing the race card, and that it was a race-based case to begin with. It wasn't like we brought that on. It was a race-based case. You got a celebrity, a black celebrity, and a beautiful white wife, and it was just kind of a structure for a terrible situation, if you will. And the trial was exciting. I mean, you know, it took 10 months, and the day the jury went out, we just assumed, we flew back here, my ex-wife and I, and we just assumed the jury's going to be deliberating for a week or two at least. And I got a call that night, and they say, come on back. We got a verdict. And they deliberated for only 4 hours, a little less than 4 hours, and found him not guilty. He is an extremely warm, personable person. He's very nice to deal with, very easy to deal with. I mean, he did have a huge ego, but you can understand that given his fame and celebrity. But he was, you know, just as kind as can be, and of course he's always maintained his innocence, and it wasn't like I got some secret information that he was really guilty. No, he always maintained his innocence. That never changed. I stayed in touch with him a little bit. I called him about 3 weeks ago, and he didn't call back. I think he was probably pretty sick at that point. So I never got a chance to talk to him. I did talk to his niece, Carrie Baker, but wasn't able to get through to him. Gosh, I mean, what do you say to somebody that's dying? I mean, I've had cancer myself. Unfortunately, I'm in recovery, and it's sad that he wasn't able to get into recovery. So that's a sad fact. Yeah, yeah, very strange. Yeah, but it was kind of fun. I mean, it was enjoyable. So, yeah. Not really. We pretty much went our separate ways after the case was over. And of course, Johnny Cochran died shortly thereafter, And and Lee Bailey, I was very good friends with Lee Bailey, and he passed away last year. So I did have a lot of contact with Lee. I helped him write his book, and um, so I did spend a fair amount of time with him. But in terms of the other people, I didn't really communicate too much with him after the trial. He was very stoic about it. I mean, he didn't seem to be affected at all, quite frankly. I have a feeling that's because of his personality, that he's just a very outgoing, warm person, and always was. Yeah, I mean, we knew when the civil case came around, we knew that he was required to testify, and we knew that was going to be a problem because of his domestic issues, which were very important to the case. And during the criminal trial, he really wanted to testify. He really thought he could sway the jury. Well, I arranged to have him cross-examined by some very competent criminal defense attorneys, and they, quite frankly, tore him apart. Not because he denied involvement, but because of the prior domestic abuse incidents. So we convinced him that he shouldn't testify in the criminal case, and it turned out to be the right decision.
So did he in the civil?
He had to.
Oh, he had to in the civil.
He had to.
Okay.
No, I'd probably still be doing DNA litigation in Northern California, which is what I still do. So no, I don't think it really affected that part of my practice. But I do get a lot of people that know me that didn't know me before, and there are a lot of people who don't like me just because I was part of the case. And that's okay too. Just stay away from those people. Yeah. But most people are very warm to me and know that we did a good job for my client.
Yeah.
There was one incident that I still think about, and that is he and I sat down and watched the movie Ghost. And we both cried. I'm a crier. I cry at movies, and he cried too. And it just kind of tells me that we were kind of on the same page there. It's kind of a corny movie, but it's a crier type movie, and he cried his eyes out just like I did.
When was this? Was this when you were living together?
Yeah. During the civil trial.
Gotcha. What made you pick Ghost? Like, do you remember much just around the context of it? It was just a random weekday night?
Yeah, no, we just decided let's watch a movie, and we did, and we liked that movie, and so we watched it.